Hello, Needham, filming before a live studio audience.
Woo!
This is What's My House Worth, a show that talks about the Needham real estate scene. My name is Rob Tickton. This is Ryan McDonald. Hi, Ryan.
How you doing, Rob?
We are with Hawthorne Real Estate, building homes under Hawthorne Builders and selling them under Hawthorne Properties. Today we're going to talk about the June sales data in Needham. Overall thoughts?
I mean, June is always an active month for closings. We had 40 homes closing this month with an average list price of $989,000, which is down a little bit from just over $1 million last month, and an average sales price almost right at that $1 million number, down a little bit again from just over $1 million last month.
And Ryan, I don't mean to interrupt you. We have some breaking news coming over right now. As we speak, sales data up to 41 sales. One just crossed. So we're up to 41 sales for the month of June, everyone.
Yeah, we're going to miss out on talking about that one, though.
Yeah, that's too bad. We need people to get those sales in so we can talk about them on the show. We know how much people like to hear about the sales right here in Needham. Anyway, sorry, Ryan, going back to the data.
All right, well, so we're still running at 101% of list is your sales price this month.
That's incredible.
It's insane. And 100% of original list. I mean, that's just, it speaks to, this is all from the frenzy of April and May that we're seeing the closings that are happening in June. These houses went, I mean, it was just crazy out there. And now when we go through them, there's a lot of them to get through. We're going to see a lot of homes that sold at or well above asking.
Also probably talks a little bit to the strategy that more and more agents seem to be adopting, which is let's go ahead and underprice it because the market will speak and we'll get a lot of action, a lot of buzz, and a lot of hype, and ultimately we'll get to that number without risking potentially overpricing a house.
Right, and it's a good strategy. Really, it's effective, as we've seen.
It's proving to be effective. That's absolutely right. Days on market 35, like you said, 54 homes sold in June 2013. With this in mind, let's take a look at the trends, as we always do, and take a peek at the last 6 months and see how things have been shaping up. And we like the direction of that graph, don't we?
Yeah, it gives us lots to talk about. So, I mean, as we always talk about, the busyness of the spring translates into closings in June. So we have 40 of them. We had 27 last month, the upward trend, and it takes us all the way back into the winter.
That's great. And something tells me it's going to continue on that path for at least another month because there are so many homes currently under agreement, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. June historical sales, June always a strong month because it starts to reflect the early spring market, and this June no exception, 40 or 41, depending on how updated you want to be, but stacks up well, but not off the charts compared to Junes of the past.
Right, you always remember that June of 2012.
How can we forget?
Good gosh, we almost needed 2 shows for that month.
Maybe we need a little flashback in this episode, don't you think?
Maybe.
So with the 40 sales on record, let's take a look at them one by one. Ryan, we're going to do it as we always do, starting with the lowest sales price and then kind of working our way up. This month, the lowest sales price can be found at 23 Marsh Road.
Yeah, I mean, this one, it's zoned in the Chestnut Street Business District, so this one could go one of 2 ways for the use. You could use it as a single family. You could also use it as a commercial property. So I think this one got a lot of looks from both segments of the market. A lot of people were looking at it from a business use. A lot of people were looking at it as a potential home that could be renovated, lived in, or even it would be a great rental.
Right, or people that want to get into Needham for under $500,000 or even $400,000. This one was immediately on their radar. Like you said, really flexible, and as a result, got more than a couple of offers.
Right.
I believe the number was 7, if memory serves. Give or take an offer or 2.
Yeah, I think the drawback here was that there was very little outdoor space, very little parking. If you're going to have parking, you're really not going to have a yard. So, and that I think is reflected in the sales price. But still, I mean, $400,000 for a single-family home that can also be used as a business. That's a good deal.
Right. Another drawback may be the industrial surroundings of the property. There were no industrial surroundings surrounding 43 Elder Road. That's a more residential area. That also is the location of our next listing.
Yep, 5 days on market, $525,000. I think this potentially could be a land sale, Rob. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one to see if it gets developed down the road.
Elder seems to be potentially one of the neighborhoods that's starting to turn over a
Yeah,
little bit.
there's one that's under agreement right now. I think there was another one maybe a few months ago that sold there. So Elder's been busy.
Elder has been busy. Probably the fact that it did say renovation or tear down is like you said, indicates that there's going to be something going on over there. We're not sure yet.
And the buyer's agent is one that represents a builder. So that's, I'm very sharp.
Somebody's done their homework so far.
Yeah.
2 Kent Road is a location that's walk to town. It's would you call it walk to town?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
It's sort of on on the other side of, I guess, how do you describe this?
It's a dead end off of Prospect.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Not a cul-de-sac.
No, not a cul-de-sac. It's an interesting location, interesting house. It's a kind of a bungalow type house. Notice in the kitchen there were no upper cabinets. So wonder if the new owner is going to add upper cabinets.
If you have one word to describe that house, what would it be?
Quaint?
Yeah, I was thinking cute.
Yeah.
38 Curve Street is next up. Curve Street, not a very big street, but one we seem to talk about quite a bit.
Every month there's something on Curve Street. It's just getting, I mean, if you're going to have completely different neighbors. If you're the last person on Curve Street, you know, you might not recognize any of your new neighbors in a short while. You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking Curve Street maybe is what Elder Road is going to look like in a couple months. It's a lot of action on there. That one sells for $560,000. The assessed value was $570,000, so nice work by the assessing department for our listing on Curve Street. 94 Jarvis Circle is next up on the list. This is a house that sells for $600,000. Water drain easement along one edge of the property. Another potential land sale? It is neat and tidy, Ryan.
It's neat and tidy. It's possibly a land sale. I mean, there's definitely been redevelopment on Jarvis Circle. It's not a big house, 1,000 square feet, although it doesn't include the lower level. But that typically adds another, say 300 to 400 feet in these types of homes. So it is possible this is a land sale, so we can keep our eye on that one too.
Jarvis, a street that has a nice blend of new construction and then smaller homes, also some multis there, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Next up is 75 Lawton Road as we start to move, I guess on the other edge of town. Lawton Road is walking distance, or I should say is in the Broadmeadow School District. This one sold for $560,000 in 2005, sells for $667,000 in 2014.
Yeah, that's a big jump. I mean, I think they did, maybe they updated their kitchen in that time span, if I'm not mistaken. This Lawton Road is one of those streets in Needham where if you don't live on Lawton, you're really not going to be on it. It's near the Needham Golf Course, which is a nice little location, and
right.
It's a good commuter spot near the train.
Yeah, not too many shops I don't think you're walking to.
Yeah, I think people get a little liberal with the stuff you can walk to in their descriptions of the.
Right. So, well, shops. People
Well,
have shops in their basement.
Hazel's
a shop.
Yeah.
But consistently, it seems that as we see houses that sold in the last 5 to 10 years, it seems to be about a 15-20% uptick from what we could see over the last, from houses that sold in that 2005 neighborhood, or at least that's how it feels. Maybe do a little research on that for the next show, Ryan, a little tease. 569 Chestnut Street is, feeling at home has never been so easy, and it's a location that's right at the corner of High Rock and Chestnut, sells for $708,000.
Yeah, I think this is a house where its location probably cost it some money, but
it's a busy corner.
It really is a busy corner, but very nice house. I mean, 3 good-sized bedrooms. The baths have been updated. I think it was well priced given the location, and the quick sale reflects that. So I think this is a job well done here by this listing agent.
Yeah, I thought it was positioned to get a good number, and it did.
Because that could be a tough sell, and it went in 6 days. So I think that's worth recognizing.
Yeah. They appreciate that, I'm sure, Ryan. 68 Dawson Road is next up on the list. This one sells for $720,000. Again, another one that just sold 9-ish years ago for $668,500 and sells for $720,000 here in 2014.
Yeah, I think good number for a split, getting over $700,000. The house is, in good condition, and I think it's a good location. So I think everybody's probably happy there.
A good number for a split. We're going to see even some better numbers for splits as we kind of get through the list. But next up is the home that you've been waiting for, Ryan, or at least that's what the property description said. It is 9 Wilshire Park as we start to tiptoe over to the ladder streets, albeit the lower rung.
Yep.
Kind of towards the edge, but $770,000 for a ladder street is $770,000.
Yeah, I mean it's a house. It's a nice house. It's a little dated. I mean it probably could use a little bit of work. Just kind of dotting the i's type stuff. Smallish lot, 7,400 square feet. It is a ladder street, as you mentioned. 2.5 baths with a full bath in the basement in this house. So, I mean, not bad.
Yeah, not sure if it has the 4 C's, but I know 9 Park does. 9 Park has the 4 C's.
Why don't you tell us what they are?
Oh, sure, Ryan. That would be curb appeal, convenience, cost, and charm.
Yeah, I don't know about the cost. I think it's really kind of getting forced with the cost.
You think they should have just called it the 3 C's?
Yeah, go with the 3 C's. The 3 C's and a V, right?
I think you just ditch cost and value and just call it the 3 C's.
All right. This one, Park Ave, had 2 big price reductions. So I highlight that because it was
in a short period of time.
In a short period of time, right. So it went out at $879, no bites, immediately down to $845 after a week. biteless, and then right down to 800 after 2 weeks, and then boom, under agreement. So I think it maybe went out of the gates too soon, but I mean, it was good that the reaction was appropriate and it was swift, and I think that otherwise it would have cost more days on market on this one.
Right, putting numbers to basically what you're saying, 40 days for $100,000 less than the original price. You don't see that very often.
No.
But in this market, you're going to know it if you overprice it,
Right.
Because
the expectation is that it sells in the first weekend, and when it doesn't, you start to push the panic button a little earlier.
Right, which, I mean, better that than to stay firm on a number that's unrealistic.
Agreed.
25 Burnside Road is a quieter location. Seems to be a pretty good number, but I will say this house, if you looked at the pictures, I didn't see the inside of it. If you looked at the pictures, was very nice.
I did see the inside of it, and I agree with you. It's very nice, but I'm still wow. This is a deal of the month candidate. I mean, this is
For the seller.
For the seller. I mean, it's a cape. It's a 1,600 square foot cape with 300 square feet included in that in the basement, and it's selling for $780. I mean, nice location. It's a Mitchell Street. It's really nice. As you mentioned, it's well done. But it's $780,000.
I think some of these listings are showing us that people are willing to pay that premium for
Agreed.
houses that they don't need to do that work in. Because
True.
they don't want to do it, and they like it when it's already done.
Yeah.
It wasn't already done at 11 Dartmouth Avenue. It was a house that maybe could have used some updating, but certainly a great location, a great neighborhood. Originally goes on for $899, sells for $800,000. Are you surprised at this price, Ryan?
No, I mean, I think it's a fair price. I think 800. They also had a pretty big reduction in a short period of time too. It went down to 859 after a week. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dartmouth's a very nice street. You do have the water tower. But I don't believe it was necessarily in view from this house.
Nope, it was not. It was not.
So it's a lot of square feet. 800,000 in Mitchell. It's probably not a bad deal.
So we talked about Burnside and how you thought that was a high number, 780 for 25 Burnside.
Yeah.
So our next listing is a house that's pretty close location-wise, and I'm wondering if you're going to make the same argument for that house. 111 Hoover Road is it's bigger. It's 2,000 square feet. Although whenever I see a number that's spot on square footage, and then I look at the square footage source and it's other, I wonder maybe what the square footage really is. That's a throwaway, but it's probably big. You're right. He's somebody who likes to round, but it's definitely bigger than Burnside.
Yep. I mean, this is $810,000, and don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting someone's overpaying.
Right.
It's more just wow, that's a lot of money, and we're not accustomed to seeing those price tags on these houses. And I think it's great for the town. I mean, it's a sign of a strong real estate market in our town. But it's a transition for us as brokers to see these numbers on these types of houses.
Well, and I think as brokers, when houses come on the market, you look at what it's listed for, and your first inclination is this house overpriced? Is this house underpriced? Is it appropriately priced? And I think with Hoover, you figured there was going to get some action at 769, but when you're waiting on that sales price and it comes across and you see 810,000, how you feel about it is how you feel about it.
Yep.
And I think it seemed like a pretty healthy number to get for that house, but it's 2,000 square feet, give or take.
And it's a nice house.
It's a good
Don't get me
location.
wrong.
It's a good house.
Nice
It's a good lot. So. Certainly, it's we're climbing the ladder here, and there's a reason for it. 28 Oak Knoll Terrace. I have a feeling you might have a few thoughts on this one, Ryan. Go
Yes.
ahead.
This is it's a dead end street that's off of Great Plain as you're heading out of town towards Wellesley. This one, this is a great. I really like this house. Huge lot, like 16,000 square feet. Some buyers of mine have purchased it, and we're going to do a renovation to it, just an addition because the house really is in really good shape. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing here is it went off the market in the first weekend, but $25,000 under asking, and there were multiple offers. So how often do you see multiple offers first weekend and the house settles for $25,000 under asking?
I would say if I see that, the first thought I have is something came up at inspection.
No, this is the price that it went in at.
Okay.
So it's just interesting because that's really where we, when I say we, myself and the buyers felt comfortable and we kind of held our ground there, and ultimately it was the best offer.
All right. Well, it's a good thing you didn't climb up, I guess.
That's right.
122 Grant Street is a house that, you talk about that, your gut feeling when you first see it. I thought this looked like a good price when it came on, $799. I still feel like the purchase price is pretty good for $850.
It's a Caplonial.
It is a Caplonial. We've seen the Caplonial before.
I mean, but this one is like truly a Caplonial.
Yeah.
It's the cape, and then right, like kind of right on the side of it is the Colonial.
Yeah, there needs to be. Too bad there's not that designation on MLS, the Caplonial.
There should be.
But walk to town location. Mm-hmm. Do you notice anything about the master in this house? Reading through the description, or looking at the floor plan, I should say. First floor master.
Yeah.
So first floor master, you had 3 bedrooms up with 1 bath. One floor, you can age in place there, Ryan.
That's true.
One floor
That's true.
living.
And you know what else I thought maybe here is with the sale price of $851, I think there might have been an escalation clause on one of those offers.
Ooh, escalation clause.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we should be talking about maybe
Yeah,
on the show.
maybe on the August or September show when there's no sales to talk about, we can work in the escalation clause.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, make it
August
up.
or September. Got it.
So stay tuned, everybody.
All right. Anything else on 122 Grant before we jump over to Whittier?
No, let's go to Whittier.
Okay. 61 Whittier. I mean, and you see these sales prices in relation to the list price, and you understand why we're at 101%.
Right.
Because there are a lot of houses, it seems, that are going for 50, 60, 70 grand.
How about $100,000?
Perfect.
In this case.
Yeah, I mean.
Zowie.
Yeah, Zowie is right, but we weren't surprised that the first number was an 8. I don't know if.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We walked out of the house, and I remember just saying to the listing agent, I mean, you're going to get ready for an interesting weekend of offers because that house was beautiful. And it's a great neighborhood. And at $799, it was begging for competition.
That's right.
And it got it.
Just 1.5 baths, though.
True.
103 Parker Road is next up.
Sure is.
And what were you thinking coming out of that house? Were you thinking they would have a busy weekend there? Because certainly they probably did. It went for $50,000 over original list.
It's a lot of space. It's $900,000, a big lot. Updated, you can move right in. But I mean, I got to be honest with you, I thought that was maybe a lot of money.
I know, but we go back to the Burnside listing where people walk in. I mean, it was nicely updated.
You don't have to do anything.
And it was done in 2006, and there's something to be said about that.
Sure is.
221 South Street. Now we're going into some unique homes.
Yes.
This one was built in 1931, and it kind of felt like it was built in 1831.
Yeah,
it
was cool. It had a cottage feel to it.
Yeah.
That I really liked. Although I do have to point out that the guest suite that was added recently is a totally different style from the rest of the house. So it's almost like you have this nice quaint older home, and then you have the new guest suite, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just was it was a really big contrast to the rest of the finishings of the house.
Do I remember correctly that you had 2 bathrooms on the second floor, but they were both captured by a bedroom? So you had another bedroom up there, or 2, that you had to go into somebody's room to go to the bathroom on the second floor.
I don't recall.
I do remember that.
Huh.
But kind of a neat house
Yeah, I like
in a cool place, a cool spot on South Street.
Yeah, right in the corner of Parkvale, I believe.
And the detached building with the porch, and so it had kind of a lot of things going for it.
Definitely unique.
Yeah.
You're not going to find another house like that in Needham.
It stood out on its own for sure. 36 Bonwood Road. Ryan.
Yeah, Bonwood.
Is that red writing?
It is. I mean, of all the houses we could have picked, I think I landed on this one.
I was surprised you picked this one.
Okay. I saw it, and for me, when I was there, and at $899, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to pay $899. And then to see it go for $945, I really think the seller made out well here. I think, not so much that there's anything wrong with the house. It's a unique flow. There's kind of 2 family rooms. There's a guest suite on the first floor. It could be another master. It was the finishings and the bathrooms had these kind of really funky tubs with showers that almost looked like capsules that you kind of get. But you can take those out, obviously. For me, I thought the house was priced at the high end of what it was worth, and then to see it sell for $50,000 over that almost is to me shocking. So I think the seller did very well here.
A lot of square footage though.
True, big house, no doubt, and a nice quiet street also.
Right.
So there's obviously a lot of things going for it. We're just talking about its relative value in my opinion.
41 Wildwood Drive. Sold for $950,000. This is a listing that had one picture that was taken from the assessor's database.
Yeah. Well, this one never really went on the market.
Okay.
I mean, this was one of those where the buyer, the deal was done before MLS really was brought into the picture.
Right.
So I don't think anybody other than the buyer saw this house.
Right. But I mean, you're not making much of an effort to disguise that by just putting the one picture from the assessor's database.
Right.
Although it's better than putting, photo not included.
True. So needless to say, we don't have very much to say about 41 Wildwood is not having the opportunity to see it.
Do you say 26 DiFrancesco or DiFrancesco?
I'd probably say DiFrancesco.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
26 DiFrancesco had 26 coincidentally pictures. Unlike Wildwood, it had 1.
Yeah.
This one, I thought, sold for a pretty big number for essentially a ranch.
It's a ranch. I mean, it's a ranch with a walkout basement. So,
on a cul-de-sac.
and on a cool lot too.
Yes.
The lot was really neat, and there's a lot of things that were nicely done here.
The lot was neat, but it wasn't like a
kitchen.
big level playground, play, flat,
True.
kids running in the back.
True. This is a unique property. 16,000 square foot lot, open floor plan. It's a ranch, but the basement is essentially the second floor because it's all open. It's walkout. So I'm not overly surprised at this number. You know, it is 2,800 square feet.
Yeah.
In Broadmeadow.
Yeah, true. You want to go back to the ladder streets?
Sure, why not?
Okay, let's go back to back ladder streets. 73 Stevens Road sold for that was a big number too. $989 goes on the market for $899. It had, I think what set this one apart was the fact that you had the 4 bedrooms on the second floor and you had the 2 baths, including the master bath.
Right.
Granted, it all felt a little tight up there, but you had what you needed.
Sure.
To get that so close to $1 million.
And the kitchen had been opened and updated.
Recently updated.
They had a cool family room, nice fireplace, and that little room off the side of the family room was nice.
And it's
And then location's phenomenal.
Location is phenomenal. A plus? You call that an A plus location?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would too. I would also call 80 Eaton Road an A plus location, but it didn't stop me from labeling it my deal of the month for the seller.
Sure didn't.
And I might take a little bit of slack for this one because people might see this and say, well, he just doesn't know the location. I understand it's an A plus location and I understand it's a ladder street, but I had the chance to walk through this house at 969 and I thought, to be honest, I felt like 969 was maybe even a little bit of a stretch, only because you're looking, it had 4 bedrooms, it had 2.5 baths, but it needed complete updating. Nothing about the house was new. The basement space, which was included in the square footage, certainly needed some updating as well. And you go to the backyard, and you had to walk from the first floor down a bunch of steps to get there, and it kind of felt like a bowl down there. It wasn't a level backyard, and I just felt like in order to put the money you needed to put into this house to get it to maybe to where you'd want it to be, you'd end up at a number that would be, you know, a lot of money for a house that was 2,600 square feet. So 1050 is a fantastic number for the seller, and something tells me that seller was very excited to get it.
Yeah, I think the time that these houses went on the market was just so perfect for sellers. There was just such a madness going on in the early spring.
Right. Well, 80 Eaton sells for 1050, and our next listing, 46 Pleasant, also sells for 1050, and you know, size-wise comparable, and it's a 2011 award-winning renovation, not just a renovation. Right. It won awards, right?
Yeah,
I'm not sure which
I mean,
ones.
You're right. I'd love to see which ones. Are there trophies? I mean, do they?
I don't know. Maybe.
But I mean, for what it's worth, it was really nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
This is a really, really well done house and cool, and I love the the architectural design of it. It's an in-town location. Really a lot to like about 46 Pleasant. My 1050, I think is I'd spend it on Pleasant before Eaton because like you said, there's just a lot still to do at Eaton.
Agreed. 7 Norwich Road sold for 1078, 300. Just a quick question on this. Do you like the dusk picture?
I do. I think that's really cool, actually.
Yeah. Sometimes I like it. I don't love it there, but I'm with you. 8 Old Greendale Avenue. It's celebrity time, Ryan. Celebrity time.
Yeah. You never know where you get these little tidbits.
Well, I wonder if when one of us sells our home, it's going to say former local celebrity used to live there.
I'm not selling my house.
Okay. 35 Bird Street. Sells for 1159, kind of an interesting lot.
Yeah, big lot.
Big lot, but tucked behind another house, which just could be a good thing.
Yeah, good privacy.
Yeah, it depends, I guess, on the buyer and what it is that they're looking for.
Sure.
But this one has 2 separate tax bills and 2 separate assessments.
Yeah.
Interesting. 32 Cleveland Road. So this house came on the market in 2013 for 1225. Goes off the market, comes back on in 2014, and sells after 79 days for just a touch more than the assessed value.
Yeah, this one just, I mean, it needs probably a little bit of work.
Needs a little love.
Yeah, a little love. It's still a good number for it. I mean, it's 3,300 square feet. It's right near town. It is on the corner of Webster. But Cleveland's a nice little street. So I like this sale. I think the buyer's probably pretty happy here.
Yeah, it runs perpendicular to a ladder street, right? Doesn't it go right in? No, is that not right?
Yeah, no, it is. To Bradford.
Right, Bradford, correct. 202 High Rock is a house that has a 3-car garage, Ryan. You know how I feel about 3-car garages.
Yeah, you like them.
I do. I don't know why, but I do.
This is a really cool house, I gotta be honest with you. I really liked it. The owner did a lot of work to it, made it very, very nice. The garage that you mentioned has a loft above it, a lot of workspace. This one, a 42,000 square foot lot, I really think the buyer's got to be happy. 1.2 million is a lot for a house on High Rock, but this one had a lot of character.
157 Stratford Road, both you and I, house that you and I both saw. I think we both agree that's a pretty good number for that house.
We do.
Right. 14 Curtis Street is next up. This was the lot formerly known as the corner of Curtis and Great Plain that got subdivided. This is the one that's now in from the house that got renovated on Curtis Street. It sells for 1,289, which is a pretty good number for the buyers in this market to get new construction for under 1.3
yeah,
at
I'd
this
say
location.
So. Big lot, 11,000 square feet, backs up to Olin.
Yeah,
so you don't have houses in your backyard either.
I like that backyard.
Yeah, sure.
Good for football games and various fun things. 15 Bauer Street, another new construction that sells for under 1.3.
I had to look up Bauer Street. I didn't know where it was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
I feel like I should know where it is.
Okay, well, why don't you tell everybody else where it is?
I forgot. No, I remember. It's right off of Gould.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on the corner of Evelyn.
That's correct.
Yeah.
108.
I've never been there.
You've never been to Bauer?
I'd never been to Bauer.
Maybe by accident? Maybe you drove past it but never thought, what's the name of the street?
Yeah.
I think I've driven on it,
Okay.
but I still didn't remember it. I do remember Wayne Road.
Yes, I remember seeing it the last time it was on. I thought it was a really nice house.
I did too. That's what I have in my notes. I thought it sold for, at the time, I remember thinking, why is this on the market for so long?
Right.
And I thought they sold it for a good number, and sure enough, they made 150 grand because
Yeah.
they sell it for 1.3 4 years after buying it.
There you go.
Next up is the 41st house.
Oh,
that
right.
never met, so we'll just
Should we tell people what it was?
sure.
Okay.
41 Carroll sold for 1,336, but this one is
We
12.
have nothing else to say about it since
No.
it didn't get in before our deadline.
But it's breaking news.
Before
right?
press time.
It's breaking news. 12 Intervale Road sells for 1,345. Walking distance to shops.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I mean, this one's on the other side of 128.
Right.
So that's a hearty walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna work up a lather.
Could you walk to Lawton?
Yeah, and then from there carpool to shops.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Why not? 36 Shirley Street is next up. Sells for 13595. They did pretty well.
They
huh?
really did. That's a good resale for that.
It's
for
a
that house.
great resale.
Yeah.
Stepladder streets. We have back-to-back stepladder streets. Actually, I'm not sure if we do. We'll get to that in a minute. I know 35 Cary Road is a stepladder
Definitely
street
stepladder street.
and sells a pretty good number for a lot size of 8,200
Yeah,
square feet.
8,200. That's a big house on 8,200 square feet. 40. I'm sure that includes the basement, but 4,300 square feet, selling for 1,375.
Yeah, and then are we calling Rosemary Street a stepladder street? I mean, think about where this is in relation.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely in the ballpark.
All right.
Let's do that.
Okay, so another stepladder street, 25 Rosemary, another 8,200 square foot lot, as luck would have it. This one sells for 1.4. That's a pretty good number, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
52 Brentwood Circle. We're getting up there. Wait, Ryan, I think you might notice something about this listing.
Yeah, this is a new house that some clients of ours bought. Nicely done. It's got a really intricate water disbursement system that I think the clients are really appreciated, and the builder did a nice job with that.
Well, we don't talk about that very often, the
No.
water disbursement
Yeah.
systems.
Because he had his hands full, and I think he handled it very well.
Ah, very nice. 104 High Rock Street, not new construction, sells for 157. That's kind of has an estatey feel to it.
I
Right?
really liked this house. I got to be honest with you.
Oh.
The country kitchen was beautiful. Really nice layout on the first floor. A nice stone fireplace. This was one I think it was a candidate for my deal of the month for the buyer.
Yeah.
I really liked this one.
Wow. It had me at 3-car garage.
Yeah.
136 Tudor Road. That's a big seller, Ryan.
It sure is, Rob. That is a big number too. New construction, 5,000 square feet, broad meadow. Tudor Road's a nice road.
That might be our lowest big seller for the year so far.
Could be.
159, maybe.
Could be.
All right. Quick peek at the market snapshot, and there's one thing that jumps out at me, Ryan, before you
Okay.
start to break it down, as you do so well. 88 active single-family listings. That number at the exact same time last year, 61. So inventory is
Up. Yeah,
up.
and we are definitely seeing, I think, the tapering off of the frenzy that we've been talking about for the last few months. It's definitely, there's a little bit more on the market right now. Things are taking a little bit longer to sell, so be careful with your pricing, and so as not to overprice anything out of the gate.
Yep. Otherwise, numbers pretty consistent with last month. So Ryan, anybody wants to call us? They want to know what their house is worth. They have any questions? They want to be in our live studio audience.
There is room in the audience, folks, so
Yeah.
don't be shy.
For next month, no more room this month. How would they reach us?
The best way to do it, give us a call. You can reach us at 781-707-6564. You can also email us at rob.ryan@hawthornre.com.
In the meantime, that does it for this installment of What's My House Worth. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Have a nice holiday weekend, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you all very soon.